In the middle of La Morelle, checking out the speed at which all of the grapes are turning from green to red is honestly such a good feeling. As Laura says, it is a very reflective time at the moment. We've done so much to get to now, and there's a lot of hard work still to come, but it feels like another milestone passed, and it honestly feels just so good. We're really excited to see what this year can bring. We're really excited to make our first wine and to share it all with you. It is quite poignant in terms of the wider situation in Bordeaux, but nothing can take away the feeling that we're feeling now. And if we can keep this going until the end of the year, then honestly, we're going to just be so happy. So coming down from Les Valades, we're now down on La Morelle, and here we're going to check out how quickly the grapes are turning from green to red. As a bit of a spoiler, it's not as fast as on the top, and this is because these are 25-year-old vines instead of 7 to 10-year-old vines. You hear a lot about old vines in viticulture, and old vines are better. And yeah, old vines probably are better, but it also means that they have less energy, and actually things take them a little bit longer. In many ways, just like humans. So to exemplify that, whereas most of the grapes on the top parcel, Les Valades, had turned red already, down here, we're a little bit further behind. So some of them are pinkish, some of them are still quite green, some of them are almost red, some of them are red. So it's not quite as quick, the transformation. And that's totally normal. That's just a function of having old vines, and old vines are great. They are really high quality, really concentrated. But yeah, it's different. And it's really cool to see that in practice. Hopefully for any of you guys learning about wine, learning about vines, learning about viticulture, and you hear people talking about, vigor, old vines having less vigor, being more concentrated, that type of thing. Well, there's a really practical example of it. Things just, take them a little bit longer to do.
So we're now at a period in the year where there isn't much for us to do ahead of the harvest. So this offers us a time to reflect on what is going on around us in Bordeaux. And as you can see behind me, winemakers are being forced to rip up their vines and respond to the reality of plummeting global consumption. Already here in Bordeaux, thousands of hectares have been ripped up as part of a scheme to mitigate overproduction and the spread of disease because of abandoned vines. So we speak a lot about diseases and mildew in the vineyard, and here's an example of a bunch of grapes that has been affected. You can see here these shriveled grapes. They don't form, they don't ripen. These unfortunately have died because of mildew. Interestingly, once the grapes have changed colour and turned red, they cannot be affected by mildew. So as soon as the veraison, which is the change in colour of the grapes, has taken place, you know that your grapes are safe. But unfortunately, we've lost a proportion of this bunch.
So really exciting time now in the vineyard. We're back, we're here to see the progress of the grapes, and a lot has changed since we were last here. We are at a really important stage now where the berries turn from green to red, which is what's going to be their final colour. There's lots of exciting things to show you, and we'll explain to you as well why this is such an important time of the year, and also such an exciting time of the year in this, which is our first harvest and our first vintage. Right, so one thing I didn't mention is with the changing colour of the grapes, it actually goes slightly different. Depending on the different parcels. So we're up here on Les Valades at the top of the plateau. As you'll all remember, these are younger vines, a little bit more vigor. They've taken a bit better to being restarted this year after being abandoned. And what we start to see here is that actually the grapes are pretty much done in terms of changing from green to red. So if we look down here, there's only like a couple of berries left. It's pretty much done, to be honest. As you can see there, like this side is completely done. There's a few bits up there, maybe like one or two. Almost complete. This will be done in the next couple of days. But that's not the entire story.
It feels a little bit nostalgic in a way, being here 3 months after the épandage, where we were effectively pruning the vines and selecting the strongest shoots to keep so that the vines were not overwhelmed by growth. And now we can see the bunches that we're left with, and we have a pretty clear indication of the yield, i.e. how many grapes that we will have to harvest. It's not as many as we had hoped, but because the vines were abandoned for a couple of years, to be expected. So in a way, the fact that we have a few grapes means it will be a precious harvest, but it also gives us the opportunity to learn and not be overwhelmed and really focus on making high quality wine. So obviously we feel very lucky to be starting out now and not ripping up vines. Of course, we're cognizant of what is going on around us and how difficult conditions are for winemakers. That said, we feel extremely confident in the terroir, the quality of the soil and the phenomenal wines that this region produces and how coveted they are around the world. And we see it as our mission to be part of the turnaround.
Seeing the grapes changing colour is such a milestone. For all vineyard owners really, not just us, because this moment signals a change in the focus for everyone now. So all of the work that we've done to create these clean, healthy bunches and to keep a tidy, disease-free vineyard up till now actually starts to fall off and starts to stop. As the grapes turn red, they're a lot less susceptible to diseases like mildew. And now, traditionally, this is the time of the year where vineyard owners go on holiday, and I've seen lots of posts online about people going on holiday and starting to say that it smells like the holidays. But really also, it's the time of year where our focus changes, and we spend a lot of our energy on preparing the harvest, making sure we have all the equipment in place, that the Chai, the winery, is ready to take the grapes and make the best wine possible from these bunches that we have this year. So we're obviously really excited. The work isn't over, it's a major milestone, but honestly our mentality is just so full of hope and all of the potential for our first vintage.